Okay, in this section, we will be discussing about a new chapter, which is nothing but data visualization, the Matplotlib module. And here I will be using this online platform for execution of these Python programs. Because if you are considering Google Meet directly, then we cannot share two windows at the same time. While if you're sharing the entire screen, it will show some infinite mirror effect. So in order to show you the program as well as the output at the same time, then only we can understand that what are the changes happen to the output because of some alteration in the program. Okay, so in order to get that picture clearly, I have used this particular online platform, which is powered by this Trinket. So here we can see both the window, both the program as well as the output. Okay, so that may not be able to do with the Google Meet because only one window we can share in that platform. So I just used this one. You can while during the programming section, you can perform those programs in your system, and you can visualize that plots in your system directly. But here I need to show you both the program as well as the plots at the same time. That's why I'm using this particular platform. You can also use this platform, or you can directly run your program in your system itself. That's also possible. Okay, so we will start with the section. So here we will be considering the Matplotlib module. Uh, in order to make the statistical inference from some data, it becomes necessary to visualize the same. Once you have a set of data, then analyzing that data will be very difficult, right? Because if you're having a number of values, for example, number of data, huge data, then analyzing that data will be much more difficult. So we need to change that data into some graphical form, some picture form, then it will be easy to analyze. Okay, so in order to make that kind of a visualization, we use this Matplotlib module, and this is a very powerful plotting library available in Python. And normally, a Matplotlib figure contains 3 or 4 parts. Okay, so we can consider it as 4 parts, which includes axis, figure, axis, and artist. So axis is nothing but we can consider it as a plot, and each of those axes will be having a title, an X label, a Y label. And if you are considering figure, figure is the whole figure which may contains one or more axes. Axis is simply plots. Okay, and third one is axis, the number line like objects which take care of generating the graph limits. Uh, so it is just like a fixed line used for marking measurements on a graph. And then we have artist, everything which we can see on the figure, which is an artist. So these are the parts of a Matplotlib figure. We will see all these things while doing the program, so don't worry about this. We will explain what is an axis, figure, axis, all those things while doing the programming section. Okay, so now we will discuss how we can plot graphs in this Matplotlib by using this Matplotlib library in Python. And we have one important tool or module in this Matplotlib, which is called as Pyplot. We have to import that Pyplot module from Matplotlib library in order to visualize or in order to draw the graphs. Okay, so Pyplot module, which is available in Matplotlib, is commonly used to add different elements to the current figure, or we can edit by using this Pyplot. The current figure by using this Pyplot module. We can create the different graphs by using this Pyplot module. And some important methods available in this Pyplot modules are plot, then we have X label, Y label, title, then figure, subplot, superplot, sorry, supertitle, and then subplots, all those things. There are a number of methods available in this Pyplot that you can get easily from any sources. And each of them are using for different applications, different purposes. So for example, if you consider plot, it is used to plot line graphs with x-axis versus x values against y values. And if you are using show, another method which is available in the Pyplot, that is used to display the graph. Then we have X label used to set the label for X axis, and for then we have Y label, which is used to label the Y axis. And then we have title, another method, title, which is used to give title for that particular plot. And then we have figure used to control the figure level attributes. So many such kind of methods are available in this particular Pyplot. And we will see all those important methods available in this Pyplot. So if you want to write it in this section, I will be just writing that important modules, if you can, sorry, methods in this particular Pyplot. So first we'll be having that, I will just say Pyplot. Inside that Pyplot, we'll be having, let's consider plot, and this one is used for plotting graph, like X versus Y data if you're having. And then we have show, another method available in this Pyplot show. This is used to show or visualize or display that particular graph or plot on this screen. And then we have X label, Y label for labeling X axis, Y axis, X label, Y label. So there are many such methods. So I'm just giving you some examples of this. And then we have subplot, as well as subplots. Okay, both are there. So etc. Many such kind of methods. We will see some of these methods, important methods, while doing the program. Okay. So how we can generate such kind of plot? How we can visualize data by using this Pyplot? So for that, first we have to import um, Matplotlib, import Matplotlib, or you can directly import this Pyplot from Matplotlib as PLT. So I am just importing that Pyplot module from Matplotlib library as PLT. So this PLT will be representing my Pyplot. So if any function I have to use from this Pyplot, or many method I have to use from this Pyplot, then I have to just use PLT dot of that particular function. Okay. So first I have to import this, then I have to just give what are the data. Okay. So I have already this program which is saved in my system. So I will just copy that. So here I have just used this PLT dot plot. So this plot option will be used to plot that graph with the values X versus Y. So these are the values. I have given this as list here, and this first list will be my x-axis or x values. So this is my x values, and this is these are the y values corresponding to these x values. So this first list is x value, second list is y value, and I am using this plot option to plot these two data as like X versus Y graph. So these two datas, which are x values and y values, separated by this comma, and I have used this bracket after this plot, and inside this bracket we have to use this inside this parenthesis we have to use this data. We have to give this data. Okay, so I will just press enter now, and then I have to use another method, which is, or function, which is used as to show the, or visualized, in order to show that particular graph on the screen as an output. We have to use this show method. So this is used to show that particular output or graph. So I will just press enter here. Then you can see on this output window, I have to run this one. Okay. So I will just run that, and it is connecting. I think I have made some mistake here. Let me see. Oh, I should write from Matplotlib. Okay. So let me see this from Matplotlib. I have to write Matplotlib import pyplot as PLT. Okay, that is the right one. Then just run now, and you can see the graph. Okay, so as you can see from this graph, you can correlate this particular graph with this data. You can see it is x-axis contains values from 1 to 3 that we have given here, and corresponding to those values we have different y values. 4, we have 4, it is starting from 4, and then up to 6 we are having this. Okay, so you can see from here in the output we can see the straight line which is representing the data that you have given here. So this is how we can create or plot graph by using this pyplot module in Matplotlib. Now, how we can give different labels to this graph. So in order to give the labels, we have to use x label, y label method, and also we can use title method to give title for this graph. So each one of them I will introduce here. So after this I will use plt.title. So this plt.title is used to give title for that particular plot, and then we have to give the x label as well as y label. So for that I will be using plt.y label, like this you can see here. So plt.y label is used to give label for this y axis. So I am giving the label as y axis, and here I have given title as figure 1, and then similarly we have to give the x label also. So I will just use plt.x label as x axis. Okay, so here also I have used this inverted comma. Okay, so then this will be treated as a text or string. Then that will be given, this y axis will be, this particular string will be given as my y label, and this one will be given as my x label, and this is my title of that particular plot. Now if I run this code, then you can see all those x labels and y label along with the title for that particular plot. I don't know what this. Yeah, so here you can see figure 1 is my title, and then I have this y axis. Similarly, I am having this x axis also. Okay, so this is how we can give the y label as well as x label, similarly title, to the plot. And now we will discuss how we can plot different data in the same graph. So here I am just using different data. So I will be giving one more data set here. So I will just use some other lists, x equal to something. Let me give some data 246 here, 2 comma 4 comma 6. 2 comma 4 comma 6 for x, and I will use for y. I will be using data as 4, 8, 10. You can give any value. It's not a problem. 4, 8, 10. Now I will be giving just that x comma y here, x comma y here. So it will directly take these two data, x comma y, as well as these two data that is directly given as list. So let me see how it will work. Okay, now you can see both of those plots or graphs in the same plot with the title figure 1, y-axis as y label and x-axis as my x label. And you can see both of those graph in this particular plot for x comma y as well as these two lists. Now you can also give separate colors to this graph. You can specify the color. For example, if I provide here, we have to give the color in inverted comma like this R, so that this R is representing red in Matplotlib as color. And if I give here some, for example, K representing the black color, so then it will be directly taking for this set of data, it will take red color, and this set of data, it will take black color. So that will be plotted. Now you can see that from this plot, it will give me one in red color and the other one is in black color. You can see from that figure. Okay, and this entire thing, which is the figure, and we will discuss what is plot in the when we are plotting it, two different plots in the same figure. Okay. So that's about the coloring, and if you can also give you have different colors. Okay, these are not the only colors available. You can have for example you can use blue color, for that is nothing but B. So I will just write that here. You can use B, that is for blue, and then you can also use red R, that we already discussed. Then you can use green with G, you can use yellow with Y, you can use magenta with M, you can use cyan C. So all these colors, different colors that you can use while drawing these graphs. Similarly, you can also use different lines. Okay, for example, if I provide here some, for example, some dot like this, that is column. And if I give some this symbol minus symbol here, so that is for solid line. Okay, so if I run this now, you can see what are the changes that is causing. You can see this particular xy data, the curve corresponding to this particular xy data that is given as list here. That is shown in red color with the dotted line. Okay, so this particular column is used for dotted lines, and this particular minus symbol, which is used for solid line, and which is black in color because we have given here K. So this is for black, and black solid line. This is red dotted line. So for dotted line, we have this colon. So I will just write that here. So colon is for dotted line, and then we have this minus symbol. This is for solid line, In the same way, you can have different kinds of lines. For example, if you are using this double minus symbol, then that will be used as a dashed line. You can do that here. And also you can use minus symbol and dot, that is dashed dot color line, dash dot line, and we can also go for none, no line. So many options are there. This is dash dot line, etc. So different this kind of different lines we can use for in Matplotlib. So these are the different line types that we can use in Matplotlibs, and different colors also we have discussed. And we can also use markers instead of these lines. So let us consider this. For example, here I will use double minus symbol. So you can see the dashed line for this case. You can see from that from figure. This one is now become dashed line with the color black. Okay, so in this way we can change the color of the graph. We can change the type of the line. All those things can be done in this Matplotlib module. And another thing that we have to introduce is that the uh, markers. Okay, so the markers you can use the dot or circle, star, all those markers you can use. If you are using this one, this is for dot, and if you are using O, small letter O, then you can take it as a circle, and then we have a V. You can use V for down, triangle, down triangle, or triangle down. Anyway, you can consider it as. And also use this symbol for up triangle. Then we have a star. That is nothing but star. So if you want to have a square type, then you can use this S. You can also go for pentagon with P. There are many other options. So I'm just giving you some examples. So these things also can be used. So for example, if I use after R, if I use star here, then it will be giving me the star at those points, at those Y values. You can see that in figure. You can see that for each of those points for Y values, you can see stars. So in this case, we will not be having that line, but instead of that, we will be having markers on those points. Okay. So if you, let me see whether it will work. If I give both marker as well as line. Oh, okay. Now you can see both line as well as markers on those points. So in these points for X and Y values, we can have those markers, and they are connected with the lines because I have given here a single line. That is one minus symbol. Okay. So in this way, you can edit all those values. Similarly, here I can give some other option. For example, if I put O, KO, so here this O will be standing for circle. Okay, small letter O. So if I run that program, then you can see those values of Y are marked as circles. Okay, black circles. So in this way, you can introduce markers also in your plots. Okay. Now we will look some more properties by using this Matplotlib in this Pyplot module. How we can, so we discussed how we can plot different datas at in the same plot. So Then now we'll discuss labeling a line or curve and how we can have some thickness for the particular line. So all this can be done in this particular section or in this module Pyplot. Okay, so we can also label lines differently to identify each of them separately, and this can be achieved by Matplotlib by using label function. Okay, you can label each of those lines, and then we can also give line width in that. So in this plt.plot parenthesis, we can give that line width also. Line width is equal to some value, you can give some 0.5 or something. Then that will define the width of your line. Okay, so the graph will be more thicker or thinner that you can design. So for that we will use line width method or function, and similarly for labeling we have to use label function for those particular graphs. Okay, so that also I will do here. So after this option r star, I will just label that particular graph as a with line width some 2. Okay, so I will just put here label equal to a. Okay, and I will just give some line width here. So line width some 2, let's consider it as 2. And similarly I can go for the other one also. The other one also I can give some label, and here I will be giving some label b. That is my second graph or curve, and then I will be giving some line width of, here I will use some 1 in order to see how it is going to change. Okay, so line width is 1 and labeling is b. So now we'll see what are the changes that is going to make in output. Some problems are there. I think it's right only. Then let me see whether it will work for one first. Okay. Okay, you can get it by using that command, but I don't know why it is not running here. Let me see. Just write it there and copy that. Maybe it is not supported by this platform. I don't know. So label A line width 2. Okay, let me see whether it is. Okay, there are some errors. I don't know why it is not executing. Anyway, so you can use this label option as well as line width option to change the thickness of the line as well as to give the label. So actually it will give you that particular line color as well as correspondingly it will give that label, but I don't know why it is not running here. Okay. Anyway, so I will just I will just check whether it is possible if I do it separately. Maybe that will work. Let me see that. I'll just change this with So first I will plot this graph XY with red color, circle as markers, and label A and line width 2. Let me see whether this will work or, yeah, that is coming. So I will just do it separately. I will just plot it separately here. Maybe that will work. So I am using the second data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as two lists, and then I am using blue colored solid line, then giving that as label B, that particular curve with the label B and line width 2. So instead of 2, I will just put 1. So now if I run that, I should get both the graphs with the two labels. I can't see the labeling here. I don't know why it is not coming. Okay, labeling, I think we have to give the legends also, right? Maybe it is because of that. Okay. So we can also give legends to these graphs. For that, we can use a PLT legend option. I will just provide that also here. So here. So plt.legend I have used to give legends in these graphs, and I have used legend A and B. And B, in this we can use this B box to anchor option, that is that just define the position of that particular legend. If you are considering it as a box, so this B box to anchor will create a bounding box with the lower left corner at position XY. So whatever position that you are giving here, that will be the lower corner. Okay, lower left corner of that particular box. You can change that position by changing these values, XY values. You can change that position, and you can also specify the number of columns that you need in that particular legend. Here I have given 2 columns, so that also you can specify for this particular legend. Okay, and you can also give a number of labels here, whatever labels you have given here for these curves. I have used A and B, so I have just given those labels here. Now I will just run this. Let me see whether it is coming. Okay, now you can see in these legends we have A as well as B. Okay, above this graph, you can change that position of this legend by changing these values 0.75 and 1.15. Let me see if I put 1 here, you can see that change. Now it is coming into this in this box. You can see that inside this figure. So you can change this legend's position by changing this XY values. So this XY values are nothing but the corner of this box, the left corner of this box, this point. Okay, you can change that into, for example, this one. If I change to 0.6 something, then it will shift it to this side, left side. You can see. Okay, so it's, so you can adjust that legend's position by using that XY values. That's for that we have used this B box to anchor option, and we are having 2 columns. One is for A and the second one is for B. Okay, so that is that's why it is. If I put only 1 here, then I will be getting only 1. That A only will get, the other one will not get. Okay, we have only that particular column. So if I use 2, then this B will be in the next column. So we can specify, we can give any value here. Okay, according to that. So it depends on the number of labels also, number of lines also. So if you are having 3, 4, 5 number of lines, then you need more number of rows. Okay, so here the rows are by default we have taking the number of rows, but columns are restricted to 1 or 2. Okay, So I'm just giving a column is the number of columns equal to 2 now, and you can see it like this. Similarly, we can also give this kind of different. We can edit this particular figure. We can also give grid lines to this graph, so that you can easily access different data points in this graph. So for that, I can use this plt.grid option or grid method, and inside this parenthesis, I can give a number of instructions. Yeah. So I am just so this two for legend as well as this grid. I am just using the minimum or the some important functions inside this parenthesis. Okay, so I have given here b none. B stands for boolean. Okay, by default it will be none, so we have just given b equal to none here, and then which we have to have the grid line for this major ticks. Okay, and then we have this axis, which axis we need this grid lines, only x-axis or y-axis, for both, for all those things we can specify here. So I'm just giving you some of those uh, important points here. We can have more number of values inside this parenthesis. Okay, so if I run this one, you will be getting that grid lines also inside that plot, like as you can see, for both x and y axis. Okay, you can specify that here. You can specify for x-axis or y-axis. You can specify that, but here I have given both, so it will show in grid lines for both x and y-axis, and it is for this major ticks 1, 2, 3, all those values. You can see that lines. Similarly, for y-axis for 4, 5, 6, all those ticks, we have these lines, grid lines. Okay, so this is how we can give grid lines in the graph by using plt dot grid option, and we can also change these grid lines style. Okay, that is also possible. So if you are including those things here in this program, then we can write it like axis, and we can use this color as G for green. So grid line color will be green, and then we can use line style. You can use this solid line by using this minus symbol, and we can also specify this width of that particular grid line. All those things are possible. So if I run this code now, now you can get a green colored grid line, okay, with the width of 2. Okay, line width of 2. You can, for example, if you give here like this for dashed line, your grid line will become dashed, and if I change this line width to 1, you can see that change in the output also. Okay, so in this way you can change or edit your figure by using this grid line plt.grid option. So all these are possible in this Matplotlib-Pyplot module. Okay, now how we can plot multiple plots, or how we can generate multiple plots in one figure. That also we will discuss here. So this can be done by using subplot method. As an example, we can show two different graphs shown in this particular example as two different plots. Okay, so if you are considering these subplots, sorry, not subplots, we have to consider subplot first. Subplots are different. So subplot method contains three different arguments. One is n rows, n column. There are n rows and n columns, and index. Okay, and this represents the number of rows, number of columns, and the index number of that particular subplot respectively. So for example, in this current example, we have to create two subplots in one figure. Okay, in such a way that it comes in a single row and in two columns. just as an example. Okay, so in that case we have to give arguments according to that particular specification, how many number of rows and columns that we need. Okay, so for that I will just rewrite the program. So I will be just rewriting this program. So I will not be using this three lines and all those things that you can do. You can use all those things. I will just show here how we can plot, or how we can generate two plots in a single program. So I have just changed this program. Okay, so I just copied one program that I have already developed. Okay, so I will just show that. Just erase this since I have done this in ideally, so that's why it's coming right. Okay, so here you can see, as we discussed earlier, we have the first list X, second list Y as our two datas. So two data, and then we have another set of data here also. Okay, and then I have used here PLT subplot. Okay, this subplot is used to generate subplots in a figure. So inside a one figure we have different number of plots. Okay, so here I have specified the number of columns and number of rows, all those things. So you can see here first subplot. So this is my first subplot, plt.subplot with one row. So this is my row number, and two columns. This is my column numbers, and this is index. So this index means we are considering one row and two columns, and in these two columns, the first one, that is this index. Okay, so the last one is index. This stands for the number of plot. Okay, plot number. Simply that is plot number. We can consider it like as that. So this is the index value. So in these two columns, this is the first one. In these two columns, this is the first column. And again, if you can give the Y label, the X label for that plot, you can change these things. Okay, now I have just given it as Y axis and X axis. You can give, for example, if you are plotting velocity versus time graph, then you can give this Y axis as velocity, and here we can give time. And if you want to plot the second plot as displacement against time, then you can give accordingly. So then we have this plot, PLT plot X comma Y, that is these two lists. Then RO stands for red and circled markers. And then we have this label, and this particular line I have labeled as A with line width 2. Okay, and then we have the PLT dot title. So you can see that we have given title here for this subplot. Okay, PLT dot title, that is for the first subplot. So this is I have given as title as plot 1. Then I have again given here PLT subplot. So this is my second plot. In that figure, this is my second plot, and I have given one row, two column. So these two are same as the previous case, but in the index we have two because I am using the second column here. So this is my second plot, and this is the second column. So in order in these two columns, I am using the second one. That is what index means. So this last one is index. This is column. This is rows. So this is second subplot with one row and two columns, and the index is 2. So this is the second subplot. And here also you can give the appropriate y-axis, x-axis. You can give any value. So for example, if I give here velocity, let us consider it as a velocity versus time graph. So this is velocity, this is time, one is time. Just you can give any value. Here I am using just a displacement. Some label you have to give. Displacement. This is not the accurate value. So anyway, so don't compare that things physically. So this is just an example. So displacement and time. Okay. So now if I here also you can see this I have given separate title for each of those subplots. Okay, here I have given this title as plot 2, plt.title as plot 2. So this will be given as a title to the second subplot. Okay, and here I am using plt.subtitle, which means a super title, which is for uh, all those subplots. For all those subplots, we have a main title, which is this subtitle, or you can consider a subtitle. You have to pronounce it as subtitle. This is title. This is subtitle. So this is for this is not a subtitle, but it is subtitle. It is for the entire plots. Okay. So this is the title of the figure, common for both the plots, for both the subplots. Okay, and then we can give this plt.show to visualize or to show that on the screen. So that's all. Let us run this particular program. Let me see whether it is coming. Oh, it is not coming. I don't know why it is not coming. So invalid syntax in 8. Oh, this maybe it is because of these lines. This is not required. Okay, let me see now. Okay, now you can see two different plots in the same figure. Okay, and you can also see the title plot 1, plot 2 for those subplots, and the figure 1 is the title of the entire figure. Okay, and we can also see on the y-axis we have the velocity, and on the x-axis we have time. For the second graph we are having in the y-axis we have the displacement, and on the x-axis we have time. Okay, so this is how we can plot number of or generate number of plots in a given figure, in a single figure. Okay, now you can change this number to change the number of plots. We have specified 1 row and 2 columns. What is 1 row here? 1 row is in this direction we have only one particular row. You can see that the column wise we have 2 columns, and in each of those columns we have these 2 figures, these 2 plots, not figures, it is these 2 plots. Okay, and these 2 plots we can consider it as an axis. Okay, and figure is the entire whole figure. The axis, this plot 1 is the first axis, plot 2 is the second axis, and axis is this time and velocity. You can see that from here. And so this is how we can have 2 different graphs, different plots in the same figure. If you change here the rows into columns and columns into rows, let me see that. So I will just change here 2 rows and 1 column. Okay, so in these 2 rows, this is the first row, and in these 2 rows, this is second row. In this second row, I am having that second plot. Okay, so that's what this indexing means. The third number in this parenthesis, this is for index. Now, if I run this one, you can see that curve will be shown as 2 different rows in 2 different rows. So here we have only single column. Column wise, we have only 1 column, but 2 rows, and each of the rows we are having different plots, subplots. So this is how we can generate number of plots in a given figure. But when you are considering some 4 number of plots, for example, or more number of plots, then this kind of subplot method is not that much easy, because giving these numbers, number of rows and number of columns, that will be much more difficult in those cases. So in those cases, we will use some other different method, which is called as subplots. So instead of this, I will use subplots, Because subplot, if you are using, then you have to specify the rows, number of rows, number of columns, and which rows we have that particular subplot, or which columns that subplot has to come. All those things we have to specify. But if you are giving or if you are using the subplots method, then we don't need that kind of specification. Okay, so here you can see we are using subplots method. So you have to see that x by s here for subplots. We are using subplots. Previously we were using subplot. It is not subplots. Okay, so remember that there is an additional s here. And in this case, we have given each of the values separately. So I have given x as a list here, x values, and y values here, and then we have y1, y2. So we have three different y values and one x value here. You can choose, you can give any, this is just an example, you can give any number of values, number of y values. In order to show the differences, okay, I have chosen three different values for y. And then you can see here, I have this syntax for this particular subplots. And the syntax is like this: figure and then comma axis. You can give any label here, name here. I have just given it as figure and axis here, which is equal to plt dot subplots. And in that subplots parenthesis, we have to specify the number of rows, number of columns, and figure size. Okay, this fig size is used for specifying the figure size. Okay, and you can give 6 comma 6 or 5 comma 5, any value, x and y, uh, length and breadth of that particular figure. Okay, that you can specify here. This is n rows. How many number of rows you need, and n columns that you have to specify. So this is a 2 by 2, like a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, so this will be having total of, if you are considering it as a square, and that square will be splitted into 4 equal parts, and in each of those parts we will be having different plots. So that's why you have given 2. So the total number of subplots will be 2 into 4, 2, that is 4. So here we will be having, we have to specify in each of the values here. And for that, we have to specify it like this: axis 0, comma 0 dot plot x, comma y, go. So what is this means? I am specifying this particular subplot. And there I am using this axis is simply plot. Okay, so don't confuse with that. This is not axis, this is axis. Axis means plot. So this is my first plot with the 0 0 index. You can see from here. So that is representing the position with 0 0, which means that the first row and first column. Okay, when you are considering, if you are considering it as a matrix, then it is the first element in that matrix, that is in the first column and first row. Okay, so here you can see this is in the first row and first column, 0 0, that is the index or position, and then you have the first plot in that particular position, dot plot x, comma y, comma g for green and O for circle. Okay, so this I have just used this x and y values. So these two values I have used for that particular graph. So this is my first subplot with the green color and circle. Okay, so I will just clear that. And this is for instruction for subplots, or syntax for subplot. You can see from here, figure comma axis equal to plt dot subplots, number of rows, number of columns, and figure size. These are options. Okay, you can just give these two are important. These two are necessary. And then we have this x label for that particular first plot. Axis same. I am using same plot. That's why I'm using axis 0, comma 0, and set x label. I have to use set x label here to label that particular x-axis, and set y label here. So after this axis 0, comma 0 dot set y label. So my y label will be set as y axis. You can give any value, any label name for that, and that is all for the first plot. These 3 lines for first plot, and for second plot we are having axis 0, 1. So this is just the first row, second column. Okay, and in that case we are having plot x comma y1. So I am using now this value x and this value for y1, for y. Okay, y1 as y, and I am using the color as blue with this marker star, and this is this axis 0 comma 1 set x label for setting x label for the second plot, and this for setting y label for the second plot. And similarly, I have used this axis 1 comma 0, so that is representing second row, first column. Okay, that is the position. And similarly, you can go for all those axes, which means that all those plots, subplots. And finally, you have this plt.show to show that particular figure. So I will just run this code. Let me see whether it is working. So all those graphs are coming, and you can see that subplots. Okay, all those graphs you can see in this figure. Four plots, 4 subplots are there, and this is how we can make or generate plots in a single figure. Different number of plots in a single figure. Okay. So in the next class, we will discuss more about the plotting, how we can plot different types of graphs. Today we have just used some set of data, but in the next class we'll use how we can, we will discuss how we can plot different types of graphs. For example, bar diagram, or we can also go for histogram, pie diagram, all those things. Okay.